Chair. It is now 6 p.m. and I call this meeting of the Third Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members are present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Please stand.
If you can please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we gather here today seeking your guidance and wisdom. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions be just, and our actions be guided by your love and compassion. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. Motion to approve the minutes of June 9th, 2025, June 19th, 2025, and June 26th, 2025. A motion by Mrs. Martinez and a second by Mrs. Montalvo. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. I'm assuming no one for public comment, ma'am? Thank you. The first item, information item, is Superintendent Performance Goal 1, Activity 4, completion of certificate.
Thank you, Board President, Board members. Tonight, the first item that I want to share some data with you is certifications that we've had this past year. So if you can see the information that I sent you over the weekend, we had 301, and actually over the weekend, we had one more cosmetology pass, and you might have seen that posting, so we have 302. And we still do have some students in the summer that some exams you cannot test until you're 18. And so we have some students that are still testing in the summer. But we had a total of 301. And then you can see the areas of certifications on the next slide. So the only change was the cosmetology is now 12 instead of 11. So as we have discussed in the past, one of the areas that we are trying to build on is to get, we know that roughly 40% of kids go to college, 60% don't. And so we want to make sure, while skill-based certifications are great, we want to make sure that we continue to expand on the job-ready certifications, the phlebotomists, the EKG, the ones that can take those certifications and go out and get that type of job. We did add certifications, a new initiative this year with our after-school ACE program, and we added the dental assistant in partnership with Mercedes Dental office there. And so that was something new, and then the forklift and also the CDL. Something else that we were able to do in partnerships with Harningen, we were able to get the fire protection, and then we had a couple with the diesel engine. We're hoping that through this bond and as we build the facility to be able to have our own HVAC and plumbing and also automotive, that when we offer it in Laferio, we will be able to expand on those. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you guys considered real estate as well?
We actually have a teacher at the high school that can work with that. And so she has done internships in the summer, but that's something that they're looking at as well.
Thank you.
Any questions of Mrs. Hollis? Thank you, ma'am. The next item is Superintendent Performance Goal 3, Activity 1, current engagement.
So I did give you a copy. It's a lot easier to look at this copy than to look online. We met together, and this is a draft, but I met with Ms. Parvin and Mrs. Laredo, and we talked about what we want parental involvement with the district level. Campuses have a lot more literacy, they have a lot more specific parental involvement. But you can see some of our focus, back to school things and literacy nights that we do each month. But one of the things that we have changed up a little bit is on the last sheet. It talks about ideas that we have and a lot of topics, Wellness Wednesday topics, and then evening topics, it says to be determined. And so if you look at these, we have helping our child with reading and phonics, math at home, making numbers fun and practical, or how to build a home work routine. We talked today in our administrative conference about parental involvement and community involvement, and about how we talked about the difference between involvement and engagement, and how we need to get, parents more involved. And so I did want to share this with you tonight, just to show this is a broad draft of where we want to go this year with parental involvement at the district level.
Questions of Mrs. Torres? Thank you, ma'am. Next item is Superintendent Performance Goal 5, Activity 1 and 3, Bond and Facilities Updates.
Thank you, President Castillo and board members. So we did provide, and we also gave you a copy again, because it's a lot easier to see the hard copy. But we did show you the projects. We have talked about the details of it, the procurement methods, if we have assigned the projects. We also talked about our estimated start time and estimated completion date. One of the projects that we are working on right now is our paving. We do have a meeting on Thursday that we're meeting with Mr. Moore, our engineer, and also the owner of the paving company that's doing the work, to see the status where we are. For the baseball softball field, we have already met with the engineers to see if we have the electricity that can support that structure. We have done a survey, we have done the geotech, and waiting for the results there. So we have done a lot of the background information, met with the architects. For the air conditioning, we met with some engineers. They are looking at the high school. We do have a lot of issues with the high school gym area, the heating elements at our 3 elementaries, so we have worked with them as well. So all of the projects, we are well underway. Alex explained it today to our administrators, and they said a lot of the work right now you cannot see, but it's work that we are working on procurement, it's work that we are doing that background before we can get there. So that just gives you some idea of where we are. And each month we will be bringing to you where we are with our projects. We are also establishing a webpage, since we have a communication coordinator now. He's working with Michael Moore and Alex Cespedes to establish a webpage, so our community can always see for every single project that we have. Are we 10% complete? Where is the estimated completion date? Where are we? How much have we spent on it? What is our total budget? And so we wanna make sure that we are transparent and that everybody understands exactly where we are with all of our projects. Roofing is another issue that we will address, and we plan to start that in August or September. Questions about the bond projects?
I do have a
Yes, ma'am.
question on the, getting that information out. It's not on the website yet, but it's on our social media pages, the
Right.
progress and this.
Yes, ma'am. But we will have a webpage that until this project is over, and it will include the budget and our finances also. I also want to share, if you look at the next pages, ma'am, this was a goal that not only talked about the bond, but the facilities. One of the things when you walk into our stadium that we're having to do is there were some metal support systems that we had to remove because they were unsafe. And if you go to the next slide, ma'am. It's not there, but you can see it on your computer. So if you look on your computer, you can see that maroon piece is what they're having to take down. There was a lot of rust and it was unsafe. If you also remember when you walked into the gate, there was that turnaround, that I don't think we've ever used that turnaround. And so they removed that because it was rusting and also becoming unsafe, so that's something that they were working on, and you can see the picture of that turnaround. On the 4th slide, you can see a picture of the, at Dominguez, Sanchez, and Sam Houston, the E-Gray Stores and Fence Project. This is something that you approved a couple of months back, and you can see how that works. Very stable, very easy to get out for emergencies, but yet people cannot get in, and that's what we talked about, the egress. We have, our maintenance department is painting, getting ready for the beginning of the school year. They're painting the crosswalks and the ADA ramps, just to make sure that everything is very clear and easily seen. We're also the fire zones, and you can see how everything is being painted and ready to go. you can see the next picture when they were drilling, out on the practice field for the geotech survey as well. And then there's some pictures, pouring the concrete. They were out there and the paving work that has been done. And then continuing on repairs and maintenance for our buses to make sure the fleet is ready for the beginning of the school year. So that's just some of the information. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question on those entryways and fire zones and student pickup areas. Does that include signage as well? Like, cause I know some schools, some parents are always on their phone while they're picking up and driving it, and it's kinda scary.
I'll look out there, and if not, we will make sure that we add signage where we need to have it.
Any other questions of Mrs. Flores? Thank you, Mrs. Torres. And there are 5 items on the consent agenda: the monthly tax report, the quarterly investment report, the 25-26 T-test, Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System calendar and appraisal, the memorandum of understanding with the Juvenile Alternative Education Program, JJAEP, for the 25-26 school year, and board policy EHBJ, innovative courses. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed on the consent agenda? One motion by Mrs. Martinez, and I have a second by, Mrs. Montalvo. It's been moved and seconded to approve the items listed on the consent agenda. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. The first item to consider and possible action is consideration and possible action to approve the district improvement plan for the 25-26 school year.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, Mrs. Torres. Tonight we are looking for approval on our district improvement plan. So for our goal 1, we are looking to approve the objectives. So you can go ahead and see them there. Our goal 1 is all about our academic performance and how our students are performing and growing within the STAR program or the STAR assessment. And then for our goal number 2, goal 2 is everything about encouraging and fostering a positive school climate. And for that goal, we have 6 objectives. Now for goal 3, our goal 3 is community and parental involvement, and you'll see there that we have 2 objectives there. For goal 4, this is our technology goal and our cybersecurity. So that's the goal that we have shifted a little bit, and that has had a little bit more changes just to make sure that all of our systems are safe. And so for that goal, we have 4 objectives. And then our last goal, which is our goal 5, that is all about our college, post-secondary readiness, and CTE. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at some of the activities. I was obviously very pleased with the improvement of the science scores from the year before to this past year.
Yes, ma'am.
30 points is a lot. But I know now those 5th graders have been dispersed to 3 different campuses.
Right.
So are they the same science teachers or are they different?
So within the teachers were, I think, dispersed based off of a lot of it also stemmed from certifications, being that, of course, San Houston is our bilingual campus.
Mhm.
We are bringing in staff development at the very beginning of the
Okay.
school year to make sure that all of our teachers do get that PE in science in the event that it is a new teacher teaching science, but we did try to make sure that every campus did have a teacher that has taught science.
And for right now, they're all the same teachers except for Sam Houston. We did have to hire an additional teacher there.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that one teacher that will be self-contained is new, but everybody else is, and she will have a very small class of 12 to 14. It's a bilingual
Oh, okay.
class, and so
Oh.
she'll have, I think she or he, but it will be a small class.
Oh.
But everybody else is the same, and part of our planning time at the beginning of the year is that every 6 weeks they will get together as 5th grade science and make sure they have time for planning so that they're still meeting together. So that's something that we're still looking at.
You mean like 5th grade from?
All 5th
across?
grade from all the
Fifth grade.
campuses.
All 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I wondered about that. And what was my other question? Okay, I know, we're concerned about the math area, obviously. And I know we adopted Blue
Blue
Bond.
Bond, yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of staff development already
Yes,
planned for
ma'am.
that. Okay.
There is a lot of staff development within our contract also with Region 1. There is opportunities where Region 1 and the person who oversees a lot of the Blue Bonnet is coming over to us and and we are going to be conducting classroom visits to make sure that our teachers are fully understanding. A lot of the PD sessions, the Fridays and Mondays that we do have, are also going to be where our teachers have opportunities to review the curriculum, do a lot of lesson internalization, and give them that opportunity to get to know their new curriculum.
It kind of reminds me of Sharon Wells, the new Blue Bond and staff development. Every 6 weeks, you will meet to plan for the next 6 weeks, and then you'll have another meeting for Blue Bond to plan for the next 6 weeks. So that is why we incorporated those Fridays and Mondays off, so that they had plenty of time to make sure they went over that to be ready for the next 6 weeks.
And Sharon Wells and Personalized, are they like gone?
They're not,
They're not, they're.
I mean, I know they're not
Right.
on the,
But for us within our district, we are, going.
yes,
Exiting.
they were
Oh,
not
okay.
approved.
I know they were not
Yeah.
approved, but I know,
And now that we
Supplemental.
have to put all of our planning on the webpage to say exactly what we're teaching,
Oh, I
we
see.
have to be very careful with what we supplement, that it is approved by
Oh,
the
I
state.
see, okay. And one other question, I'm not sure what goal it was, but it had to do with, improving our CCMR by 15%, I believe, or 15 points, I
Goal
forgot what
5.
I read.
Outcome 3, objective 3. Goal 5, objective 3, by spring of
By
2026.
15%, oh, 15%, okay, I misread it then. I thought 15 points, 'cause it's already high to begin with, correct?
It's about 88,
Oh,
90,
okay.
somewhere in there.
Okay.
So I think they're looking at, that's why is that at the 15%.
Oh, I see, okay.
And that's the bonus, I'm
Bonus,
sorry, I
yeah.
read it wrong. So
That's the bonus, though.
we are not
Oh,
at,
bonus,
so
yes.
15% is quite a bit. When you
Right.
look at, our bonus is not the same. I know that we had about 75,000, and this past year, the bonus was what, Alex? About 100 and,
About 110, 120,000.
and so
That's
we
because
want
of
to
the
be able
bonus.
to continue to increase the number of students that are passing the TSI. I know that I was meeting with Mrs. Casas, and we were talking about after certifications, these are all the students that got the IB, the certifications, but they also have to pass the TSI. So we
Right.
need both in order to get the bonus. We do use that bonus money in order to pay for the exams and pay for the certifications and all of that.
I don't have any more questions. Any questions of Mrs. Martin? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Martinez
Second.
and a second by Mrs. Montalvo. It's been moved and seconded to approve the district improvement plan for the 25-26 school year. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 4-0. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible action, thank you, ma'am,
Thank
to
you.
nominate and approve delegates for the TASA CASB Convention for September 11th to the 14th of this school year.
So, Board President, I did receive an email from Jack Dameron asking that we elect, usually at this time of year, we do that, and choose somebody to be a delegate and an alternate, for that. And
Who's the
so,
delegate? I know it's either, are you the delegate or the alternate?
I'm the alternate.
You're the alternate, so
And
Mrs. Johnson is,
Ms. Johnson was the delegate.
was the delegate. And I understand Mrs. Johnson wants to continue to be.
she
the-
said she would if nobody else wanted to do it.
Does anybody want to be a delegate or an alternate? I don't mind having Mrs. Johnson or Mrs. Martinez continue that role.
I don't mind.
So you'll continue to be the alternate and
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson the delegate? So Mrs. Johnson will be the delegate and you, Mrs. Martinez, the alternate. Do I have a motion?
I move we endorse Ms. Johnson for the delegate and Ms. Martinez as alternate.
And do I have a second?
Do I have to second myself?
Okay, a second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded to endorse Mrs. Johnson for the delegate and Mrs. Martinez as an alternate. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. The next item, discussion, consideration, and possible action on the endorsement of TASB Board of Directors candidate for Region 1, Position B.
So, Board President, at the last meeting, Mr. Briones tabled this because not everyone was here. Unfortunately, this is due by August first, so we cannot table it again, so, because we have some out. But we have received a list of candidates for the position of the TASB board, for Region One, Position B. We have three, Ms. Curzona White from Monte Alto, Rudy Corona from San Benito, and Sylvia Sanchez Garza from South Texas. So, it is the recommendation of administration that the board choose, an individual that they would like to endorse.
Do I have a recommendation? Of the three, I don't know, of the three, only one has reached out to me, which is Mrs. Sylvia Garza. And she even offered to come and address the board at a public comment. I told her she didn't have to. The other two, I have no earthly idea who they are, so I'm only familiar with Mrs. Sylvia Garza. So I don't know if that will help make a recommendation or an endorsement.
What are y'all's thoughts? Ms. Alma, your thoughts?
Sylvia also reached out to me as well, and that's the only candidate that I know.
That's the only one that I see at the conferences, who come up
And
to
she comes
us.
and coaches us
Yes.
and talks to us.
Mhm.
The other two, I have no idea who they are. So do I have a motion?
I move we endorse Sylvia Sanchez Garza for TASB Board of Directors candidate for Region One, Position B.
And I have a second. Ms. Martinez seconded the motion. It's been moved and seconded to endorse Sylvia Sanchez Garza for TASB Board of Directors candidate for Region One, Position B. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve local funding for the after-school ACE program from July 2025 to October 2025.
Good evening, Board President Castillo, board members, Superintendent Torres. This item we're bringing to you still for approval, even though, as you all know, and I'll briefly talk about it, on Friday, we got notification. It hasn't been official yet, but that, that the federal government was gonna release funding for Title IV Part B, which is specifically for our after-school program. So that was really good news. Now, we still gotta wait for the US Department of Education to release what's called a grant award notification, a GAN, to the states. And then from there, TA can give us a NOCA, a notice of award, of grant award. And then from there, we can officially give the budget to our ACE program. And so really this all stems from June 30th. On June 30th, the Department of Education had, late on June 30th, they had released a statement saying that they were gonna freeze quite a bit of federal programs, right? And so that included a lot of our ESSA programs, right, from the Every Student Succeeds Act.
Can you
So
go to
they-
the next slide?
Yeah, we can go on to the next slide, yes, please. And so really what they froze, remember that every year we apply for the ESSA grant, and that includes our Title I Part A, which is the majority of our grants. Now that one funds most of our aids, that one was not frozen. But then the next, 4 that you see here were, which is Title I Part C, which is migrant, Title II Part A, which is supporting effective instruction, Title III Part A, which is bilingual, and then Title IV. And so those are pretty substantial grants that we rely on every single year. Our Title II helps us pay for a couple of our professional salaries, and Title IV, Part A, the $87,000 the district uses for our campuses, for tutoring and extra duty. And our campuses rely on those funding. So as of right now, that funding has been frozen, and TA did release a notification on that for us not to obligate those funds, meaning we cannot issue out a budget on that until they get what I was mentioning earlier, until they get that GAN, and then in return, they'll give us an OPA. So those have been frozen. Initially, what they had also frozen was when I was talking about Title IV Part B, the 21st Century Community Learning Centers, which is your after-school programs. They unfroze that, but we're still waiting official notice. So as of today, we have not received official notice from TA or ANOGA. And again, our plan was to, we reworked the numbers. The plan that the district had was we were gonna freeze partial, budget from all of our campuses and departments to be able to fund our ACE program, at least up until October, right, and wait for the federal government to hopefully release those funds. So we're still waiting official notice. If you can go on to the next slide now. The purpose of this slide I wanted to show was, this federal funding freeze is affecting every single school district out there, not only in Texas, but in the whole nation, right? And specifically, I wanted to put the Region 1 out there. So there you can see every single school district here in Region 1. This is just the first page, there's 2 pages. The number of funding that every school district has been, that we're not able to use right now. So I'm sure y'all have heard in the news, there's been other districts that have already taken action on some of these. Whether they've cut some of these programs, they've moved people to other places, and so right now we're just waiting and seeing. So again, the good news is we'll be able to get the ACE funding, because that's $1.1 million, so we'll be able to continue to do that. The other programs, we'll just continue to wait, and if they are frozen permanently, then we'll have to evaluate those programs at the end of the year and see if we have to take any other steps, right? So again, if right now, what we're bringing to the board for approval is for us to use that funding for the after-school ACE program, but again, we know that we got that notification. I don't know if y'all have any questions on this, or?
I know you say you're waiting for the.
Yeah, we're waiting for the grant,
and
award
those that
notification,
go,
yes, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, well, to me, I was telling Mr. Garcia today, it really broke my heart when I heard that the funds were frozen.
Right.
Because I just hear from the parents how pleased they are with the program. I mean, I'm sure they're looking forward to whatever activities ACE was planning for the school year before we heard of the freeze of the funds. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is,
And the
We need
Department of
it.
Education hasn't released any
Right.
more information besides pretty much a very general information. And they haven't said that they're not gonna fund it, they just said that it's been frozen while they review the grants.
Right,
And if y'all recall, they tried doing something similar back in January.
that's right.
And I think it stems from, they're trying to review the language in all these grants to make sure that there's nothing that, that ties to DEI. And in this case, I think they're trying to see if any of the funding is tied to us using funding for students, that maybe have undocumented status, things like that. How long it's gonna take, we really don't know, and when they do, we don't know if those notices will be backdated, so we don't know if we'll be able to,
Get reimbursed.
reclassify some of those expenditures, right?
So the impact will be 217,000.
No, so if you add up the first 4, the impact right now, it's no longer 1.5 million, it'll be 406,000.
No, but to fund the
Well,
ACE.
it was originally, yes, if you go on to the next slide now, please, to the next one. That one, yeah, originally, we had done some calculations, and we had said that if the ACE money would have not been unfrozen, it would have cost the district about $217,000 to fund the ACE program from July to October.
Okay.
And again, the majority of that is the salaries of our staff, because all of them are professional staff, besides from the administrative assistant.
And the reason we're bringing it tonight is if by the end of July, we haven't got the NOGA, we need to pay our employees.
Right.
And so we can use local monies until we can get that NOGA and then reimburse ourselves.
And that's what I was gonna say, yeah, this is just for us to take precautionary measures so that we can use our local funds, should we not get the NOGA until much later, or if and when we get the NOGA, if it's not backdated to July 1st. Because all these grants, they all start July 1st. But we don't know if when we get that NOGA, let's say, for example, the NOGA is dated August 1st, everything that we did in July, we cannot pay that back. Which then this board approval would allow us to use our local funds to pay our staff.
So
And
if
whatever.
and when, I'm sorry, if and when we get the NOGA, do we have to come back for another board meeting and change it? That's what I'm saying?
No, we won't have to, no, at that point, we can just be able to reclassify those expenditures, again, whatever's allowed. It all depends again on that NOGA and the date of the start of that grant.
Okay.
So it's the administrative recommendation that we use local funds to pay for our employees for the after-school program and to pay for the continuation till the end of October.
Okay.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mrs. Martinez, and do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Montalvo. It's been moved and seconded to use the use of local funds for the after-school ACE program from July 25th 2025 to October 2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve an order by the Board of Trustees of the La Feria ISD authorizing the issuance of La Feria ISD Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2025, levying a continuing direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of the bonds, authorizing the execution of any necessary engagement agreement with the district's financial advisors, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Board President Castillo. It's a lot of different things that go into it, so, I did provide all of y'all, a document, like this, if y'all wanna take a look at it. And if we look at the second page, really, that's just a summary, right, that, just to recall that back on May 3rd, the district did go out for a bond election, to issue out $20 million in unlimited tax ad valorem tax bonds for the purpose of, designing, construction, renovating, improving, upgrading, updating, acquiring, and equipping school facilities, right? And I think earlier in one of the superintendent goals, we discussed some of those projects. Again, here, I just wanna mention really quick on the paper that you're looking at, the financial team, right? It was a group of people that we have. So the district has a financial advisor, right, that we have throughout the year. Specifically for the bond election, back then, when we were getting ready for the bond, it was brought to y'all to approve our bond council. And then, of course, our bond council and our financial advisors went out for bids to get underwriters. So that essentially makes up your team. You have your financial advisor, you have your bond counsel, who really looks at all the legalities. That's our attorney for the bond, that's their specialty. And then the underwriters are the actual firms or groups that actually go and sell the bonds. And as a matter of fact, today, this morning, that's what took place. Our bonds went out for sale. It's pretty interesting, right, when they go out to market and they sell these bonds. And so they try to get as much as they can. I believe the total was about 116 million. And so from there, what they do, then they're able to negotiate the yields or the interest rates. And so if we go on to the next page, so that's essentially what we were able to do, right? We were able to get the full $20 million, which that'll get deposited to a construction fund that the district will monitor and manage. Again, the amortization schedule, it's just like whenever you get a mortgage, it's the regular term is for 30 years for us to pay it back in 30 years. Initially, our calculations was to try to keep it around 5% or more or less the interest rate. It did come a little bit lower at 4.97. And then, of course, and the proceeds, we do expect to get them by August 12th. And so in the meantime, again, we do have a lot of legal documents that the board has to sign and for us to provide to our bond counsel so they can make it official once you all, make a decision on approving, on issuing out the bonds. And of course, our first payment on this is already gonna be coming up. It's August 15th. So now remember, all of our bond payments, we pay them in August and in February. In August, we pay interest, and then in February, we start paying some principal on all our bonds. So that'll be coming up right away. I don't know if there's any questions on this, or?
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mrs. Martinez, and do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Montalvo. It's been moved and seconded that the board adopt an order authorizing the issuance of the La Feria Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve a resolution relating to establishing the La Feria Independent School District's intention to reimburse itself for the prior lawful expenditure of funds relating to construction various school district improvements from the proceeds of obligations to be issued by the district for authorized purposes, authorizing other matters incident and related thereto, and providing an effective date.
Okay. So now that the board has officially approved the issuance of the bonds, what this is called a reimbursement resolution. So what this allows, as y'all know, some of the bond projects we've already started. Now, we have not issued any payment on them because they haven't submitted any pay-ups on those, but should they submit any payments for us to start, for example, the project that we've already started that is, underway is the paving at WB Green. Once we start getting payment requests for us to issue out payment on some of the work that's been done, For now, what we do is we pay with our funds, with our local funds. Once we get these proceeds, as I mentioned earlier, we expect to get these funds on August the 12th. Any payments that we do from, let's say we would have already paid some payments a month ago, this allows us to go back 60 days to be able to reimburse ourselves with the bond proceeds. Again, this is only for projects that were discussed with the community, bond projects. So again, right now, really the only ones that have started is the paving, and another one, for example, we've already done some work for the softball field, the baseball and softball fields, the geotech study and the topo survey.
Questions of Mr. Tiscadis? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Martinez.
Second.
I have a second by Mrs. Montalvo. It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Trustees adopt a reimbursement resolution relating to establishing the district intention of reimbursing itself. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the new employer and employee health insurance rates effective October 1st of 2025.
Thank you, President Castillo. Again, what we're bringing forward to the board is our health insurance premium. So as you all know, the district, we are a self-funded insurance district, which essentially means that the district, we pay 100% of our employees' insurance, and then in return, when our employees go to the doctor, to the clinic for medication, those claims, we pay those directly. We do use a health insurance consultant, but the district, is the one that pays that directly. So what we're recommending is that we increase the premiums by 7.5%, and in the next slide, I'll briefly talk about it. No, go back. There. Again, so this is the reason why we're asking for a 7.5% increase in our health insurance premiums, is so that we can have a healthy fund balance. Now, this is a different fund balance than the one that we're always talking about. This is our health insurance fund balance. That's all that it can be used for. And the reason for that is, as y'all know, over the last 4 or 5 years, claims have been higher than usual, both from the medical side and from the pharmaceutical side. Sometimes you do have some anomalies where there might be a year that some of our claims are higher than normal, for different reasons, right? So again, what we're bringing forth is some changes. I'll go over them briefly. If the board does approve this, there's still a couple of things. One, we still have to take it for approval by the South Texas Health Cooperative, because remember that we're in the cooperative with another school district, so that still has to be approved by both sides. And then the rates wouldn't take effect until October 1st. As you all recall, last month, the board did approve a new third-party administrator, so that this is our health insurance, and then our third party does all the benefits that our employees pay, like dental, vision. And so all of these changes will be educating and informing our employees during September, during open enrollment. So again, we'll be out there at all the campuses. I know that Mr. Cavazos brought back the benefits, the health benefits employee committees at every campus. I think we used to have them some years back, and he brought those back. So we really want to be out there with our employees every month to see what their concerns are, if they have any questions, to help them out, especially now that we'll be transitioning to a new third-party administrator. We could go on to the next slide. So really here, again, the 7.5% increase, what we're doing is, right now the district pays $353 per every employee per month for their health insurance, right? The employee doesn't pay anything. And so we're asking to increase that to $379. Again, this is what the district pays on behalf of the employee. That would cost the district about $120,000 for the year. And again, when Mr. Cavazos was preparing the budget, we did allocate that funding for this. The middle graph on the slide is what the employees pay for their health insurance. So if we have employees here with the district that have their children on their insurance, their premium per month is gonna go up by $20. So right now they pay $263, regardless on the number of children they have, and that would be going up to $283. If an employee right now has health insurance where it's just them and their spouse, right now they pay $498 per month. That would be going up $38, and now they would be paying $536 per month. And then of course, if it's an employee and with the family, that would be going $59 per month. We don't have many employees that have the buy plan, but we do have a few employees. So the bottom graph is that. Is there any questions on the rates?
I remember when I was working, it was at 353, so it hasn't gone up since.
Yeah, I believe it was a 345 for the longest time, and then, yeah, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we brought it to increase of
Okay.
$8, and now we're increasing a little bit more.
It really hasn't gone up a lot in the last.
No, compared to, again, because we're self-funded, a lot of other districts, for the normal, they pay about $500 to $600 per employee, so I think we have, pretty good benefits plan.
Any questions of Mr. Sestelles? Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the new employer-employee health insurance rates effective October 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded that the board approve the new employee health insurance rates effective October 1st of 2025. All those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 4-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the superintendent's recommendation regarding the designation of 10 non-business Public Information Act days for Public Information Act requests beginning September 1st of 2025 and continuing throughout the 25 and 26 calendar year.
Good evening, Board President, Ms. Castillo, Superintendent Ms. Flores, and board members. Under section 552.003 of the Texas Government Code, the school district may designate 10 days within the calendar year in which the district's administrative offices are closed or operating with minimal staffing as its non-business days. This allows the district to ensure that any Public Information Act request that comes in while the district is not operating or when staff is out, that they have adequate time to respond. The designation of the non-business days must be approved by the Board of Trustees at a school board meeting. So we do have 10 business days for school 2025 and then for the year of 2026. So these are 10 days that we are recommending. That's not besides the holidays that we have as well.
Any questions of Mrs. Ramos? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation regarding the designation of 10 non-business Public Information Act days for Public Information Act requests beginning September 1st, 2025 and continuing throughout the 2025 and 2026 calendar year.
And do I have a second? I have a second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded to approve the 10 non-business days for Public Information Act days. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 4-0. Discussion, consideration and possible action to approve a change order number 001 to amend owner contractor agreement with Venture Contractors LLC for WB Green Middle School paving project.
Yes, thank you, President Castillo. We're bringing forth for the board approval change order number 1. In consultation with our civil engineer and our contractor that has been awarded for the paving project at Green, there's a couple of changes that they've looked into and that they've recommended for us to do to move forward with those. Specifically, one of those is where our buses will be entering and exiting, expanding the width of that. And Mr. Moore's here, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe we're extending it from 20 feet to 24 feet. So again, that'll just make it more, give more space for our buses to be able to come in and out. Another part that they noticed as they've been prepping, and y'all saw some of the pictures where they're setting up some of the concrete and asphalt. They noticed that around the back gym at Green, where one of the drainages is, that was gonna be asphalt, and that we're changing it to concrete again, when it rains, and, we don't want it to start, holding up. And so again, the total of the change order for those two things, that would be $7,777.50. I don't know if there's any questions on those two specific things or on the whole change order.
I know I asked Mrs. Flores, is that Willow Street or no?
Yes, the one at the back?
The one that you want to
Expand.
Yes,
That's the one
it's-
that they're gonna be coming in through the back, yes.
They're coming through the back, and what they're expanding is when we go over the ditch. And is that correct, sir?
Correct, so it'll be the whole portion from the bus roundabout to Willow Street.
Oh, I see.
And so, we tried it with the buses, they worked on the 20 feet, Willow Street's only 20 feet wide.
Oh, I see.
But in the city's review, they wanted us to expand it to 24, so I talked with Ms. Tones,
Yeah, no, she meant.
we'll just kinda meet them in the middle on that. think they wanted 30, and we argued,
Oh, wow.
so they said, okay, 24. So, but I mean, 24 is ample room for both buses to pass, everything should be fine and safe for that.
Any questions of Mr. Suspendez or Mr. Moore? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve, change order number 001 to amend owner contractor agreement with Venture Contractors LLC for WB Green Middle School paving project.
And do I have a second? Been moved and seconded to approve, this is not yours, by the way. It's been moved and seconded to approve change order 001 to amend owner contractor agreement with Venture Contractors LLC for WB Green Middle School paving project. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve and adopt the following policies: FNCE local, personal communication devices, electronic devices; EFB local, library materials; FN local, student activities; FD local, admissions.
Yes, good evening, Board President, Board members. Mrs. Torres, based on the 89th legislative, there have been some new policies that need to be created or updated, and the first one is FNC local, which is student conduct, which is under student conduct, personal communication devices, and electronic devices. This new policy requires that every public school in Texas to be put in place a written policy that prohibits students from using any personal communication devices such as cell phones, smartwatches, tablets, etc. while on school property during the school day. The schools must also include disciplinary steps in the policy and may confiscate the devices if the student breaks the rules. When does this take into effect? This takes into effect immediately when the board approves. Exceptions to the policy would be if a student shall be authorized to use a personal communication device if the student's IEP it's documented on the student's IEP, if it's required by a physician, a qualified physician, or it needed to be a health or safety requirement under the law or district protocols. The superintendent shall develop regulations to implement this policy and will report to the board on the implementation and compliance of this policy. Students cannot use their personal devices anytime that they're on campus during school hours, even between classes or at lunch, and schools will have clear policies on confiscation, storage, and discipline, and how to handle the unclaimed devices.
So I'm gonna add a little bit to that. Today, when we were meeting with our administrators, we did come up with the guidelines that are required. And so, this is still a draft. This is not what you approve. You only approve FNCE. But this shows you that we have developed the guidelines. And it basically, this will be sent out to parents in English and Spanish. And it talks about House Bill 1481 is the requirement about these electronic devices. School hours is from the time that they enter the campus to when the bell rings. So elementary it's 3:40, junior high is 4:05, and high school it's 4:15. At that point, they can use it. We also looked at how will we store. We could either ban them completely. We could have them in a locker if we purchase certain phone lockers. We could have pouches, or we could have them store them in their backpacks turned off. This has been a big discussion around the valley. Superintendent's talking overwhelmingly because it is an unfunded mandate. Most superintendents are going with the exception I think of two, is they're going with the backpack and having them turned off. The legislators do require us to have, to list the exceptions and then talk about the violation. We want to make sure that the violations has nothing to do with they would be an in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension or DAP. We want them in the classroom learning. So you can see first offense is that the device is confiscated. That is something that we are required to do by the bill. Student may pick up the phone at the end of the day on the first offense. The second offense, the parent's notified, device held until the parent or guardian picks them up, and there's a specific time that they can pick them up because we don't want to be dealing with phones all day long. So 4:30 to 5, they can pick them up. Third offense, parent-student conference, students prohibited from bringing the device for the remainder of the year. And so those are some of the things that we talked about. And we reviewed that with all of our administrators today. This was not what we had earlier. They made some changes throughout the day. And we talked about this, it seemed like 40 minutes, 45 today. It was a big discussion. Any questions about the policy itself?
The policy, is just in regards to electronic devices, not like AI software or anything else like that?
That's not, yeah. 1481 just talks about devices.
And how is this information gonna be distributed to our parents as the school starts? or
It
as
is in
soon
the
as we-
handbook, we will, we're going to, as soon as the board approves the policy, for example, at Green, he's having parent meetings, we will get it out, have them sign off, that they understand, all of that to make sure that the parents understand.
When would I'm just curious, when would a special ed student need to use a cell phone? I'm just curious.
It typically wouldn't, I mean, you go to the front office, the nurse or the parent, anything like that. We don't have any students that are assigned to any specific devices aside from maybe like, hearing assistance or any
Right.
types of, we do have some, tablets and things for some programs, but
Right.
those are always issued by the schools, so they're not anything that they have to bring on their own. So we don't have any right now, but if we ever did, of course we would.
Of course, yes. I was just wondering, cause I've never heard of that, having a student use a cell phone. Just curious. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead. Are you done?
That was just one of them.
I know, I said, oh, you know.
The next
I know
policy,
myself.
I'm sorry, the next policy is EFB local, which is instructional resources, library material. This is based off of Senate Bill 11. This gives parents, gain the rights to review all school records about their child, including what library materials their child, checks out. Puts stricter library material approval. Before buying or accepting donated books, the district must publish the proposed list for 30 days for public review, and then gain approval from the school board at an open meeting. Parents and committee members can formally challenge specific books. The school board then decides whether the book stays or it is going to be removed, and the districts must ensure materials are aligned with state library standards. This pretty much strengthens parents' rights regarding library use and imposes review steps before books can be acquired, removed. And that's, any questions on EFB local? The next one is FD local, which is admissions, and this we've always had. We've had it in our student handbook, but now we are required to have it in our policy. Currently, school districts may allow non-enrolled students, like homeschoolers, to participate in UIL. La Feria has always opted out from this, so now we do have to have it in our local policy. Okay, and the next one, FM local, student activities, is just changing the language to be aligned with FD local admissions.
I did send you out, there's probably 15 different laws that are into effect that we have to approve before September 1st. So in August, we will bring in another round two as we receive them from TASB. So as soon as we get things from TASB, we will be bringing some more policies to you.
Questions of Mrs. Torres or Mrs. Ramos? Do I have a motion?
I move to adopt the following policies: FNCE local, personal communication devices and electronic devices; EFD local, library materials; FM local, student activities; and FD local, admissions.
And do I have a second? A second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded to above all the above listed policies. Do I have a motion?
All those in favor?
All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you. Motion carried. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the request for applying for the upcoming bids for E-rate 27.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, and Mrs. Torres. The Technology Department, it's in the process of planning upgrades on network equipment and servers and computers. With the plan is to use E-rate. 27 funds. In order to get these funds, we have to go through an application process. This application process is an RFP that we need to complete and upload with the instructions of the project that we want to accomplish. Then we have to collect bids and then evaluate those bids. After we get those bids, we come back and present the evaluation of the bids. We are recommending to continue or to proceed with this application process.
Any questions of Mr. Vela?
So that's to upgrade all district? or-
This one is specifically for Dominguez and Sanchez.
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve to apply for the upcoming bids for E-rate 27.
And do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Mrs. Martinez. It's been moved and seconded to approve, to apply for upcoming bids for E-rate 27. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. It is now 6:56 PM, and we are moving into closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Thank you, Sarah. It is now 7:12 PM, and we are now reconvening to open session. Let the record show that the superintendent approved the resignations of the following: Yvonne C. Gonzalez. And according to board policy DC local, the superintendent approved a 1-year probationary contract for the following: Alanis, 1-year probationary contract, and Gloria Perez, 1-year probationary dual contract. Any district announcements?
Yes, August 1st, 2025 staff will return back to work. August the 4th, we have our convocation from 8 to 12:30. August the 5th, we have back to school expo and rally from 5 to 7 p.m. August the 11th, we have a regular school board meeting at 6 p.m. Also on that day, we have meet the teacher night for all elementaries from 5 to 6. And on August the 13th, we have our first day back to school for our students.
Wow.
Questions of Mrs. Ramos? If there is no other business, I have a motion to adjourn. A motion by Mrs. Martinez.
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Montalvo. It is now 7:13 PM, and this meeting is adjourned.